They said no man would ever choose her, but the Korean Mafia boss choose her. The glass slipped from her fingers and shattered against the marble floor, the sound sharp enough to cut through the laughter that had already wrapped around her like a noose. Aminata froze. For half a second, the entire banquet hall went quiet. Then the laughter came back, louder, crueler, fed by whispers and sideways glances. Someone clucked their tongue in mock pity. Another person muttered, "Careful. Even the glass doesn't want her." Aminata bent slowly, her hands trembling as she reached for the broken pieces. Her cheeks burned. Her chest felt too tight, like she was breathing through fabric soaked in shame. "Leave it," her aunt said sharply. "You'll only make it worse." Worse. As if it could be worse than this. She straightened, swallowing hard, and forced her hands to her sides. She had worn her best dress tonight, simple, modest, the color of deep wine, but standing here under the crystal lights, she felt exposed, like the fabric had peeled away and left her bare in front of everyone who had already decided she was nothing. The event was supposed to be a celebration. A high-profile charity banquet. Influential guests. Wealth. Power. Opportunity. Her cousin had insisted she come, said it would be good for her to be seen. Seen. Now she wished she could disappear. "I really don't understand why you brought her," a woman near the table said, not bothering to lower her voice. "This isn't her kind of place." Her cousin laughed awkwardly. "She wanted to come. You know how she is." Aminata knew how she was too. Quiet. Careful. Always trying not to be a burden. Always hoping, foolishly, that if she stayed kind long enough, someone would eventually choose her. Someone snorted. "Choose her? Be serious." The words landed like a slap. Aminata stared at the floor, willing the tears back. She had promised herself she wouldn't cry tonight. Not again. Not in public. Then it happened. A man stepped forward from the far end of the hall, his polished shoes echoing against the marble. The sound was deliberate. Heavy. Commanding. Conversations died mid-sentence. Laughter shrank into silence. Even the music seemed to fade beneath the weight of his presence. Aminata felt it before she saw him. The shift in the room. The way people straightened. The way eyes lowered. She lifted her head slowly. He was tall, dressed in black from head to toe, his suit cut sharp enough to look like a weapon. His face was calm, unreadable, but his eyes, dark, steady, terrifyingly focused, were fixed on her. On her. Her breath caught. Someone near her whispered, "Oh God." Another murmured a name she didn't recognize, but the fear in their voice was unmistakable. The man stopped a few steps away from her. The distance felt intentional, like he was giving her space to run. She didn't. She couldn't move at all. He looked around the room, his gaze sweeping over the guests with quiet authority. When he spoke, his voice was low, smooth, and carried effortlessly. "Who said that?" No one answered. "I asked," he repeated, still calm. "Who said no man would ever choose her?" Aminata's heart slammed against her ribs. She wanted to say something, anything, to make this stop, but her throat closed. Her aunt cleared her throat nervously. "It was just a joke. We didn't mean." The man raised a single finger. Silence fell instantly. He turned back to Aminata. For the first time that night, someone looked at her without judgment. Without pity. Without dismissal. His gaze was steady, almost curious, as if he were seeing something the rest of the room had missed. "You," he said to her. "Look at me." She hesitated, then lifted her eyes fully to his face. "Yes," she whispered. His expression softened, just slightly. Barely enough for anyone else to notice. "I choose her." The words hit the room like a thunderclap. A nervous laugh rippled through the crowd, then died when no one else joined in. Someone gasped. Another person stumbled back a step. Her cousin whispered, "Is he serious?" Aminata's mind went blank. What?" she breathed. The man extended his hand toward her, palm up, waiting. "Come with me." Her body screamed at her to run. Every instinct she had told her this was dangerous, that powerful men didn't do things like this without a price. But the room behind her felt even more suffocating than the unknown in front of her. "I don't understand," she said quietly. "Why?" His eyes never left hers. "You don't need to." "Not yet." Someone finally found their voice. "Do you know who he is?" they hissed urgently to Aminata. She shook her head faintly. The whisper came back, trembling. "That's Kong Min-jae." The name meant nothing to her, but the reaction it provoked did. Faces drained of color. People bowed their heads. Even her aunt stepped back, suddenly respectful. Min-jae's jaw tightened. "You're frightening her." "I'm not," Aminata started, then stopped herself. She looked at his hand again. Strong. Steady. Waiting. She thought of all the times she had been told to wait. Wait to be chosen. Wait to be loved. Wait to matter. Her fingers trembled as she placed her hand in his. The effect was immediate. Men in dark suits moved into position without a word. The room shifted around them, forming space like a tide pulling back from shore. The whispers changed tone, fear replacing mockery. Min-jae closed his fingers gently around hers. "Walk with me." They moved together toward the exit, her steps uncertain, his unhurried. She could feel eyes burning into her back. Feel the weight of 100 unspoken questions pressing against her spine. As they passed her aunt, the woman reached out. "Aminata, wait." Min-jae stopped. He turned, his gaze cold now. "She's with me." That was all it took. Her aunt's hand dropped. Outside, the night air hit Aminata like a shock. She sucked in a breath, her lungs aching as if she'd been underwater for too long. The black car waited at the curb, engine running. One of the men opened the door. Aminata hesitated. "I can't just go. I don't even know you." Min-jae looked down at her. Up close, she noticed the faint scar near his jaw, the controlled tension in his posture, like a man who never truly relaxed. "You know enough," he said. "You know they didn't deserve you." The words cracked something open in her chest. "No one's ever said that to me," she admitted, her voice shaking. His gaze softened again. "Then they were blind." She swallowed. "What do you want from me?" "For now," he said. "Safety. And time. And later?" He paused, considering her with unsettling honesty. "Later, you'll decide." The door remained open. The choice hovered between them, fragile and terrifying. Aminata glanced back at the building. At the people who had laughed when she broke. At the life that had never once chosen her first. Then she stepped into the car. As the door closed and the engine pulled away, she realized her hands were still shaking, but for the first time, not from shame. From the terrifying possibility that everything she thought she knew about her worth was about to be proven wrong. The car moved smoothly through the city, the hum of the engine the only sound filling the space between them. Aminata sat stiffly in the leather seat, her hands folded tightly in her lap as if holding herself together by force alone. Every streetlight that passed painted Kong Min-jae's face in brief flashes of shadow and light, but he never once looked at his phone, never seemed distracted. His attention, somehow, stayed on her even when his eyes faced forward. She broke first. "You still haven't told me why you chose me." He didn't answer immediately. The silence stretched, thick and deliberate, making her pulse quicken. "I told you," he said at last. "You don't need to know yet." "That's not fair," she replied, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. "You can't just pull someone out of their life and expect them to follow without questions." Min-jae turned his head then, studying her. "I didn't pull you," he said calmly. "I offered my hand. You took it." Her mouth opened, then closed. He was right. That scared her more than if he'd forced her. She looked down. Everyone back there, they'll think I sold myself. That I used you. Do you care what they think? He asked. I shouldn't, she admitted. But I do. That will change. She glanced at him. You sound very sure. I am. The car slowed as they approached a guarded gate. Two men stepped forward, nodding the moment they saw Min-jae. The gate opened without question. Aminata's chest tightened. Where are you taking me? She asked softly. Home, he said. Her breath caught. You're home? For now. The car rolled to a stop beneath a towering structure of glass and steel. It didn't look like a house. It looked like a fortress pretending to be a residence. The doors opened before they could even be touched. Aminata stepped out and immediately felt the weight of invisible eyes. Men stood at measured distances, dressed in dark suits, their gazes sharp but disciplined. No one spoke. She leaned closer to Min-jae, her voice barely audible. They're all watching. They're watching me, he corrected. You're under my protection. That's supposed to make me feel better? It should. Inside, the building was quiet in a way that felt unnatural, like sound itself knew better than to exist here. Aminata walked carefully, afraid even her footsteps might echo too loudly. Min-jae led her into a spacious room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Lights glittered below like stars she couldn't touch. You can sit, he said. She did, perching on the edge of the couch. What happens now? Now you rest. She laughed weakly. I don't think I can. He studied her again. You're waiting for the catch. Yes, she said instantly. There's always a catch. Not tonight, he replied. Tonight, you're exhausted. And frightened. Her throat tightened. You noticed that? I notice many things. She hesitated, then asked the question burning inside her. What if I don't belong here? Min-jae moved closer, stopping a respectful distance away. You didn't belong in that room either, he said quietly. But you survived it. Tears stung her eyes. She blinked them back. Surviving isn't the same as living. His jaw flexed. No. It isn't. A knock sounded at the door. One of the men bowed slightly. Everything is prepared. Min-jae nodded. Show her. The man turned to Aminata. This way. She followed him down a hallway into a bedroom larger than any space she had ever slept in. Soft lighting. Clean lines. Calm. It felt safe. Too safe. You'll be staying here, the man said. If you need anything, press the button by the bed. When he left, Aminata stood frozen, overwhelmed. Min-jae appeared at the doorway. You'll be safe here. She hugged herself. I don't want to be a prisoner. You're not, he said. The door isn't locked. She looked at him skeptically. He met her gaze evenly. Try it. She walked to the door and turned the handle. It opened. Her shoulders sagged slightly. Why are you doing this? He leaned against the frame. Because I know what it looks like when someone has already been decided against. Her heart skipped. You talk like you've been there. I have. She turned to face him fully. What happened to you? For the first time, his composure cracked. Just a hairline fracture. But she saw it. Sleep, he said. We'll talk tomorrow. No, she pressed. If I'm staying, I need to know who you are. He exhaled slowly. You're brave, he murmured. People don't usually call me that. They're wrong, he replied. Silence stretched again, but this time it wasn't heavy. It felt honest. My father was murdered when I was young, Min-jae said quietly. I learned early that power decides who is chosen and who is discarded. Aminata swallowed. I'm sorry. Don't be, he said. It made me precise. She studied his face. And lonely? His eyes flicked to hers. Yes. The admission stunned her. I didn't choose you out of pity, he continued. I chose you because when they humiliated you, you didn't beg. You didn't perform. You stood there and took it. That doesn't sound admirable, she whispered. It is, he said firmly. Strength doesn't always shout. Her chest ached. I've been invisible my whole life. Not to me. The words settled into her bones. She hesitated, then asked, what do you want me to be to you? Min-jae considered her carefully. For now? A guest. And later? That depends, he said. On whether you choose me back. Her breath caught. You'd let me say no? I insist on it. She nodded slowly. Then I'll stay. For now. That's enough, he said. As he turned to leave, she stopped him. Min-jae? Yes? Thank you, for seeing me. He looked over his shoulder, something unguarded in his eyes. You were never invisible, he said softly. They just refused to look. The door closed gently behind him. Aminata sat on the bed, heart pounding, mind racing. Fear still lingered, but beneath it, something dangerous was growing. Hope. And she didn't know yet that choosing to stay would change everything. Aminata didn't sleep. She lay on the massive bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet hum of a place that never truly rested. Every few minutes, footsteps passed outside her door, measured, alert. Protection, she reminded herself. Not surveillance. But her body didn't know the difference. It stayed tense, coiled, waiting for something to go wrong. Sometime before dawn, she finally gave up. She sat up, wrapped the robe tighter around herself, and walked to the window. The city stretched endlessly below her, glowing and alive, indifferent to the woman standing above it who still felt like she didn't belong anywhere in it. A soft knock startled her. She turned. Yes? The door opened slightly. Min-jae stood there, dressed already, his jacket perfectly in place, his hair neatly styled. He looked like a man who had slept very little and carried it well. You're awake, he said. I could say the same, she replied. He nodded once. Come. Eat with me. She hesitated. I don't want to get in the way. You won't, he said simply. They ate in silence at first. The table was long, polished, intimidating. Aminata sat near the edge, feeling absurdly small. Dishes were placed before them by staff who avoided her eyes but treated her with formal respect. She picked at her food. They're scared of you. They should be, Min-jae said without arrogance. She glanced up. Does that bother you? No, he replied. But it bothers me that you think they're scared of you. I don't think that, she said quickly. I think they don't know what to think. He studied her. That uncertainty can be dangerous. For me? For anyone who underestimates you. She laughed softly. No one has ever accused me of being dangerous. They will, he said. Soon. The word sent a chill through her. After breakfast, he led her through the building. She noticed how doors opened before he reached them, how conversations stopped the moment he entered a space. Power clung to him like a second skin. Why are you showing me this? She asked. Because you need to understand where you are, he said. And what choosing me means. They stopped before a large window overlooking a training yard below. Men moved with precision, practicing combat drills. Controlled. Lethal. Her stomach tightened. This isn't a normal life. No, he agreed. It's not. She looked at him. And if I decide I can't do this? I'll take you home, he said immediately. No consequences. She searched his face for deception and found none. That scared her even more. Later that day, she was alone again, wandering the quiet corridors. A woman approached her, elegant, sharp-eyed. "You must be Aminata," the woman said coolly. "Yes. I'm Siorin," she said. "I manage things here." "Things?" Aminata echoed. Siorin's gaze swept over her. "You're causing quite a stir." Aminata stiffened. "I didn't ask for any of this." "No," Siorin agreed. "Which makes it more dangerous." "Dangerous how?" "You don't belong to his world," Siorin said bluntly. "And people don't like disruptions." Aminata swallowed. "Then why is he doing this?" Siorin paused. "That's what worries us." That night, the danger revealed itself. It happened fast. Too fast. Aminata was in the hallway when the first sound echoed, a sharp crack like thunder. Alarms didn't blare. Voices didn't shout. But the air shifted instantly. Hands grabbed her. She screamed. "Quiet," a voice hissed. "Don't fight." Panic surged through her veins. She kicked, clawed, desperate. A second later, chaos exploded. Gunshots. Shouts in Korean. The grip on her arm vanished as a body slammed into the wall. Min-jae appeared like a force of nature. He moved with terrifying efficiency, pulling her behind him, his body a shield. His gun was already raised, his eyes cold, lethal. "Get her out," he ordered. "No," she cried, gripping his jacket. "I'm not leaving you." He turned, shock flashing across his face. "Aminata." "I won't," she insisted, tears streaming. "I won't be a thing you protect while you bleed." For a split second, the world seemed to freeze. Then he nodded sharply. "Stay behind me. Do exactly as I say." The threat was neutralized within minutes. Silence followed, heavy and unreal. Min-jae turned to her, scanning her frantically. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, hands still shaking. "They tried to take me." "Yes," he said grimly. "Because of you?" "Because of choosing you," he corrected. The truth hit her like a wave. "Then it's my fault." "No," he said sharply. "Never say that." She stared at him. "You said there would be no consequences." "I was wrong," he admitted quietly. They stood there, surrounded by the aftermath, the weight of reality pressing down on them. Later, in his office, she faced him. "I won't be the reason people die," she said. "I won't be your weakness." "You already are," he replied softly. Her breath hitched. "Then let me go." His jaw clenched. "If I do, they'll still come for you." She frowned. "Why?" "Because now you matter," he said. "And they want to know why." She sank into a chair. "I never wanted to matter like this." "I know," he said. "I didn't plan for this either." Silence stretched between them. Finally, she looked up. "If I stay, I won't be hidden." He met her gaze. "I wouldn't insult you by trying." "I'll learn," she said suddenly. "The rules. The risks. Everything." His eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Because I'm tired of being chosen for," she said. "If I'm here, I choose it too." Something fierce lit in his eyes. "Very well," he said. "But understand this, once you stand beside me, there's no pretending." She nodded. "I'm done pretending." He stepped closer. "Then you need to know something." "What?" "The night I chose you," he said quietly, "I didn't expect to survive the consequences." Her heart clenched. "Why would you risk everything for me?" He reached out, hesitated, then gently touched her cheek. "Because some people change the balance of a room simply by existing." Tears slipped free. "I've spent my life trying not to take up space." He leaned closer, his forehead nearly touching hers. "Then let me teach you how." The moment stretched, fragile and electric. He pulled back first. Rest, he said. Tomorrow, we begin. As he left, Aminata realized something terrifying and exhilarating. For the first time, she wasn't just being chosen. She was choosing back. Morning came with a strange calm, the kind that followed violence like an uneasy truce between the body and reality. Aminata stood before the mirror, studying herself as if seeing a stranger. The woman looking back at her still had the same dark eyes, the same soft features, the same scars of years spent shrinking herself, but something else lived there now. Resolve. Fear, yes. But also resolve. She dressed carefully, choosing simple black clothing offered by Siorin. When she stepped into the corridor, conversations didn't stop anymore. They slowed. Adjusted. People noticed her. Minjae was waiting. You're ready, he said, not as a question. I am, she replied. Her voice didn't shake. He nodded once. Approval. Respect. It settled into her chest like armor. The meeting room was full of men who looked like they had never lost in their lives. They assessed her openly, some curious, some hostile. Aminata met their gazes one by one, refusing to look down. This is Aminata, Minjae said. She stands with me. A murmur rippled through the room. One man scoffed. With respect, this is reckless. Aminata spoke before Minjae could respond. You're right, she said calmly. It is. The room stilled. But pretending I don't exist is what caused the recklessness in the first place, she continued. I won't hide so you can feel comfortable. Minjae watched her closely, something fierce and proud burning in his eyes. After the meeting, he stopped her in the hallway. You didn't have to speak. I did, she said. I won't survive here if I'm silent. A corner of his mouth lifted. You won't just survive. That night, danger returned, but this time, she was ready. A call came. A threat delivered plainly. Give her up, or face war. Aminata listened quietly as Minjae relayed the message. When he finished, he turned to her, his expression grim. I can move you somewhere safe. No, she said immediately. This isn't negotiable, he warned. Yes, it is, she said. Because I'm not a package to be traded. He stared at her, torn between instinct and respect. If you fight because of me, she continued, then let me stand where I can be seen. Let them know I'm not a weakness. Silence stretched between them. Finally, he nodded. Very well. The confrontation was public. A gala. Cameras. Powerful figures. A calculated move. Aminata stood beside Minjae as they entered, her spine straight, her chin lifted. Whispers followed them like shadows. She recognized faces. People from the night she'd been humiliated. They stared now, eyes wide, mouths tight with disbelief. Her aunt was there. Frozen. Pale. Aminata met her gaze and didn't look away. On stage, Minjae spoke calmly, decisively. Anyone who targets her, he said, his voice carrying across the room, targets me. A beat. Aminata stepped forward. And anyone who thinks I'm here because I was saved, she said clearly, is wrong. I'm here because I chose to be. The cameras flashed. That night, the threat dissolved. Not because of fear, but because power had shifted. She wasn't hidden anymore. She wasn't a secret. Later, alone on the balcony, the city glowing below them, Minjae spoke softly. You changed the narrative. She smiled faintly. I was tired of living in one written by other people. He studied her. Do you know what you've done? I think so, she said. I've made myself impossible to ignore. He laughed quietly. Yes. You have. She turned to him, suddenly vulnerable again. I'm still scared. As you should be, he said. Courage isn't the absence of fear. She hesitated, then asked the question that had lived in her chest since the beginning. If I walked away now, would you let me? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was honest. Yes. The word landed gently. And if I stay? She asked. His gaze softened, deepened. Then I stay with you. She stepped closer. I was told my whole life no man would ever choose me. They were wrong, he said simply. She searched his face. Say it again. I choose you, he said. Every day. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't look away. Then I choose you too. He pulled her into his arms, holding her not like something fragile, but like something precious and equal. Weeks later, Aminata walked into a room alone. The same kind of room. Wealth. Judgment. Eyes waiting to dismiss her. But this time, she didn't wait to be chosen. She took her seat at the table. And the room adjusted. Because some women aren't chosen to be saved. They're chosen because they refuse to disappear. And sometimes, the most dangerous man in the world is the one who sees that first. END